Guys, this movie is dumb. And I say that as a guy who loves big, dumb action movies. I got Face Off on VHS behind me. I just gave The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard a glowing review. I defended Jurassic World as fun, not a failure. I enjoyed the Fast and the Furious movies. I think Fast 5 is fantastic. I enjoyed Fast 6, Fast 7, surprisingly emotional. Fast 8 is when things started to get questionable for me. And then even Hobbs and Shaw, I surprisingly didn't enjoy it as much as I hoped I would. But when I saw the image of them on a rocket car, I thought this was going to be great. But sadly, no, it's not good enough to give this film a positive review. Guys, This movie is called F9. Like F9 as in a keyboard key. I had to double check that before this review. I was like, no, it's Fast 9, right? It's Fast and Furious 9. It's not F9. No, it's called F9, the Fast Saga. Because they're like, well, we can't keep I don't know. What it's the dumbest title I've ever heard. And these movies, I expect them to be dumb. But I expect them to be so dumb that, it knows we're laughing with them, not laughing at them. And this was the first time where it was very clear to me they're unaware that a lot of us are laughing at it instead of with it. And I got to say, I really think the blame needs to be aimed at producer Vin Diesel. Now, this happened in Fast 8. I'm starting to bleed them together. I think it was Fast 8 where Charlize Theron showed up for the first time, right? And he has this. We learn he has a son and his wife's murdered. And I remember hearing about it, all that stuff was added and written specifically for Vin because he wanted to have a better moment of acting in the franchise. And I remember being annoyed then too because I was like, it just felt so out of place from the movie. Now, I did really love the scene with Jason Statham getting the baby out. There was that scene was awesome. That was probably one of the best scenes I would say, if we're adding up all the scenes in Furious movies, that was a great sequence in the plane. But overall, the franchise, the Fast Saga, has just gotten muddled in how serious the family drama aspect of the film is. And in this film, it once again gets caught up in that seriousness. And that seriousness just seems even sillier when you juxtapose it with action set pieces that make zero sense. I'm talking 0 cents now. They've thrown out any idea of sense or reality out the window. This movie makes no sense. They justify it. They try to. They get from A to B. And typically I wouldn't really care. Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard has a lot of problems too. But I knew they were laughing with me. I wasn't just laughing at it. I was laughing with the people who were making the film. I really felt like we were on the same page tonally. But Vin Diesel, I don't think he understands. At least maybe I'm wrong. I'm curious. Tell me in the comments if you disagree with this take. But I don't go to these movies for Dom's drama. I go to these movies to see crazy car chases and fun set pieces and spectacle and some maybe fun twists and turns. But I feel like Vin Diesel is really taking this franchise far too seriously. And before I continue on sort of problems I have with F9, I wanted to quickly share this quote I found the other day. We had it on one of our live streams over at Popcorn Planet. And he sort of talks about his beef with The Rock. And he says, here's where it sort of happened. It was a tough character to embody the Hobbs character, Diesel says. My approach at the time was a lot of tough love to assist in getting that performance where it needed to be. As a producer, to say, okay, we're going to take Dwayne Johnson, who's associated with wrestling, and we're going to force this cinematic world, audience members to regard his character as someone that they don't know. Hobbs hits you like a ton of bricks. That's something that I'm proud of, that aesthetic. That took a lot of work. We had to get there, and sometimes at that time I could give a lot of tough love. Not Fellini-esque, but I would do anything I'd have to do in order to get a performance in anything I'm producing. I just can't... I can't imagine being Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and getting minutia acting tips from producer Vin Diesel, as if he's like the director of the movie. Vin Diesel is a producer in name only just because he became a celebrity, and that's how they pay talent and get them more engrossed and keep them around into a franchise. And this idea that Vin Diesel needed to push the character of Hobbs to different degrees is just laughable to me. I mean, what the Hobbs character was just like a cop. There was nothing I saw in that was any different than I've seen The Rock done before. I don't know what Vin Diesel is proud of. It was fine, just like everything else The Rock has done, and I don't say that as a diss to The Rock. I say it as a diss to Vin Diesel. Like, how dare you, sir? You're not the director. You literally created a beef with The Rock because you had to tell him to up his game as an actor for the role of Hobbs. I just find that so funny and offensive to The Rock. It's just ridiculous, and it once again proves what I'm trying to say. I just think Vin Diesel is taking this all way too seriously. These are big, dumb, silly movies, and we expect big, dumb, silly set pieces. And Vin Diesel needs to step back and stop making it so crazy. Stop giving himself big action scenes and everything else. So that's ultimately my biggest problem of this movie. This tonally, I couldn't get into the dramatic parts. And action-wise, they're so dumb now at this point. I was staring in disbelief and getting so confused how anything was even happening or possible. The laws of physics are completely gone. They're jumping around cars like they're trampolines. Like it's gotten, they've done that a lot in the franchise, but they sort of usually do like the big crazy jump from one to the other as sort of one big moment. We're like, oh my God, they did it. In this movie, they do it like a dozen times, and it just starts getting overdone and overdone. We're like, well, I guess, yeah, they really can't die. It's impossible for them to die. And that's where the movie, that's where the movie gets even crazier. Tyrese literally has a whole section of the movie, an ongoing bit, where he talks about it and admits, I can't die. I think we're invincible. And he has sort of this argument with the cast. And I was like, at first I thought that was clever. I'm like, oh, they're doing like a meta thing to acknowledge it. But I really don't think they even understood that they were making fun of themselves, and they're making fun of the entire franchise. It's just, again, a tonal mess of, do they understand what kind of movie they're actually trying to make? Overall, like, it was nice to see Han back, although they justify it. I still don't understand how the hell it all happened, even though I know how it happened. None of the stuff that they do, there's a flashback sequence with it's young Dom, I guess I can just say that. There's sort of an ongoing plot of a young Dom, which I'm like, oh my God, are they going to do this in a spin-off movie or something? And it just, none of it made any sense when it all unpacks and you sort of understand what's going on. I don't think it's possible for anyone to actually go through the storyline from 1 to 9 and have it make any sense. They've completely lost me on sort of what's going on, and the timeline just doesn't even make sense anymore. I'm like, wait, that's Han, especially with Han. So they're trying everything they can to sort of justify connecting the dots. But again, I wouldn't care if they just sort of shrugged it off, gave you a quick justification, and then went into a really cool action set piece. And sadly, this movie's action set pieces, they're just ridiculous. There's a scene in I guess you've seen it in the trailer, guys, if you're paying attention. There's a scene where they literally they drive into like a stake with a wire that swings them across a gorge and lands them on the other side. There's no rhyme or reason or thought process. He's just like, I'm going to run into that stake and it's going to catch us and it's going to swing us on over. It's like it becomes Looney Tunes. Literally, the movie is like a Looney Tunes episode, but not like a creative one or one that you're like when they did that scene, it was with the Burj Khalifa, where they do a whole sequence and set up him driving from one building to the next. Like, that is the pinnacle of a great Fast and the Furious sequence. It makes no sense. It's ridiculous. It's no way it could ever happen. But you suspend your disbelief because it's really cool and it's like a great visual. And you're like, oh man, look at how they did. It works. But now they're running out of ideas that they literally are like, how are we going to get across this gorge? Oh, we'll run into that stake, and yeah, there'll be a cord that just swings him over like Tarzan, and then he'll land and crash. And I'm just like, I guess that was cool, watching a CGI car swing without any rhyme or reason. I just have trouble. There's a whole sequence where they drive over mines, and again, CGI cars, just clearly stunt drivers. No, they're like, if we drive fast enough over the mines, we'll have 2 seconds. We got to go at 80 miles an hour, and we'll all drive past the mines. But then they don't even pay attention to their own rules, and they literally have like the cars in a line driving. It's like, hello. If this car drives over the mine, in 2 seconds, the car behind it is going to explode. So can you at least like take 10 seconds to think about the sequence you're doing to make sure it's actually fun instead of just dumb? And they just have no concept or rhyme or reason to figure out, does this make sense? There's a whole sequence with a magnet car that literally grabs whatever metal they want it to grab. And there's no, again, rhyme or reason as to which metal or why or how it's going to work or where they got the damn magnets in the first place. At a certain point, I understand they're just trying to make like a cool sequence. Like I forgave it as well in that sequence. I think it's 8 where Charlize Theron Cypher like literally remote control cars, all the other cars from buildings, and they're jumping off the buildings and driving after. That was a cool sequence. Made no damn sense, but I enjoyed watching it. The magnet sequence, I was just there's one part in the magnet sequence, I won't say what, but it's near the end of the sort of the sequence where they do something extreme. And both Don and I, who I saw it with, we turned each other and we just laughed in disbelief of like, what? It was like the biggest eye roll I could have get. It was not in a fun way. So look, overall, I'm just disappointed. John Cena, like I like John Cena. I have no idea why Dom's brother was gone. They tell you. I still don't buy it. I don't buy it. Where he was and why it's all turned. None of it made sense. There's an interesting idea there, but I think they wasted it. I can't get into too much of it because of spoilers. But not worth it, sadly. And then a lot of crazy sequences, but the big moment is this one is by far the best moment of the movie. It's the two of them are funny. They work. I like them. Thank God they're in this. Tyrese really gets to shine, even though he has some insane moments. There's a scene with him where he just shoots everybody and never gets shot, and he doesn't miss. And I'm just like, where did this Tyrese come from? I never remember him being that good in these movies. He's sort of always more afraid and complaining. But they really turned him into an action hero, and I didn't actually mind it. Like that, those were the moments of the film that I wish we had more of. So, Jordana Brewster, I have no idea why she's back. It makes no sense why she's back. I mean, it does. They justify it, sort of. But I'm sorry, Jordana. It's too weird to have you in these movies and not Brian. And then, Letty, she's been complaining that the women don't get anything to do in these movies. I still feel like she didn't have anything to do. Her stunt woman had a lot to do. But the character of Letty, no, there's nothing really there. I forget her name from Game of Thrones. She's the standout female for me in the movie. She plays like sort of the nerd. She has a really fun moment in the film. To me, she got to shine the best of all the ladies. Vin Diesel, same Vin Diesel we've seen a million other times. Nothing substantial. John Cena's okay. But again, I feel like he clearly was getting the Vin Diesel direction throughout of be more sinister. This is a really big moment, John. You're a wrestler. Make sure you know what you're doing. I can't even imagine. And John Cena just seems like he's probably too nice of a guy to be like, The Rock's basically like F off. John Cena's probably like, okay, yeah, great. Overall, though, I was not that impressed. He's fine. He's totally fine. Overall, the movie, I would say definitely I would probably rank this one much lower on the scale of Fast and Furious. Is it the worst one? Yeah, it might be. It really might be. I think, I'm trying to think, even Too Fast, Too Furious, which is sort of really silly and stupid, I actually have fun with it. I'm trying to remember. It's like part 4, the Fast and the Furious one, or Fast and the Furious. That's the one I don't remember very well, but I don't remember hating it. I got to say, I think this might be my least favorite of all the movies so far. So sad to report that. I wanted to go in. I wanted to enjoy it, but F9... really, really silly. It did not get me excited for the next 2 movies. They really need to bring everybody back and set the goal of like, let's just make really great set pieces. Let's stop worrying about the drama. But I sadly think they're going to amp up the drama 10 times more for the finale, which apparently they're going to do 2 more movies, 1 and 2 parts. But what do you guys think? Did you see it? Are you excited? I want to hear your thoughts down below. Is this the dumbest Fast and the Furious movie yet? Is this one of the dumbest action movies yet? I really think it might be. I want to hear your thoughts down below. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button in the top right and click on these playlists to watch some more content here on Movie World, the place where we only talk movies.